Well, hello there. Welcome back to the channel. Getting back to this project, got to finish up this RowSense dealio on the corn head. I had the parts guy print me out the installation instructions. So that should be helpful so I can figure out where to plug that in. I don't think there's a whole lot left. Depending on how much I get done and how much time I have left, I might attempt to take that reel off by myself. It'd be easier with two people, but I think I can get it. So let's get going here. So getting started here, I'm just chilling underneath the corn head. Notice I have the safety stop on, so you don't have to yell at me about that. I think what I got to start with is I need to pull this shield off. That's what the instructions say to do. I believe it's just 3 bolts, and then possibly that one too. And our wiring harness should be up in there somewhere. It's looking like that goofy bracket that I showed in the last video is only needed on a 20-inch corn head. This is a 30-inch row corn head, so should be all right there. I'm gonna pop these shields off and see what we got behind there. So I dug in here, found the wiring harnesses that we have to plug into. They've just got dust caps on them. Thankfully, the head was already wired out to this point, so it must just come standard with this wiring. It's probably built into the actual wiring harness for the head. Then if you want to add RowSense, you just add that later. So pretty straightforward. Plug the sensors in to the corresponding wire. And then I guess I do have to use these brackets. There's some knockout holes here. I'm not exactly sure which one I need to use, but it looks as if these kind of mount up here like this, and then you use those to tie off your cable so it doesn't get wrapped up in this drive shaft right here. So I get it plugged in and just kind of see where the wires sit, and then decide which of these knockouts I need to knock out. So I've got those knocked out. They sent carriage bolts. I'm gonna stick these in here. Hopefully I'm able to get these started underneath by myself because I don't have anybody up here to hold them down. So we'll get them in, see what we can do. Got those mounted. That wasn't too bad. Now all I got to do is run these zip ties through the little notches and tie the cable up to them. Like I was saying earlier, that'll keep it away from this drive shaft. That way you don't have to worry about it ripping itself apart. And then I'll just kind of tie this extra up, shove it back there, maybe put some more zip ties on it, and I think it'll be good to go. I got all the wires run, got my shields back on, got everything zip tied, and then I had to cut all the zip ties off because I didn't leave enough slack right there for when you put the snoot down. So I had to cut all the zip ties off, start over. But I got it done. I think I decided I'm gonna leave the reel on because I just have a feeling if I take it off, we'll get a windstorm and then we'll have to put it back on. So I got these 2 snoots dropped down. That way I can put, wherever they are, the feeler arms in these sensors, and it won't get in the way of this reel. Pretty simple. You just slide them in, and you gotta stick a roll pin in here, wherever it goes. I'll have to hammer those in, and they'll straighten out. Might have to do some adjusting later. I think there's a tolerance of how close these need to be. These holes here are slotted, so I can move them around, but we'll deal with that later. Well, I got that job done. Since I'm gonna leave that reel on here, I decided I'd end this video with kind of a crop update. I've been kind of quiet on YouTube all summer, so you guys are probably wondering what's going on. I'm gonna hop out here to a field of beans right next to the shop. Don't mind that hole right there. Nothing ever grows there. It just stays wet all the time. Overall, I think our crops are looking pretty good. We had pretty good rains over the summer. It was dry early on in like late May through June, which actually was kind of a good thing. It helped our crops to get some roots down deep. So then they were able to access moisture deeper down. It did stay drier a little bit longer than we would have liked to have seen, but you know, it is what it is. After that, we got some pretty nice rains to fill this crop out. This field of beans is looking pretty good. Just starting to see some signs of leaves starting to turn yellow toward the bottom. You can see those yellow leaves down there at the bottom. I'd really like to see another rain to help fill these out. They're pretty green yet, and they could still utilize some moisture if we did get some rain. Not a lot of rain in the forecast, but if we did happen to get some, it could add a bushel or two to these beans. So soybeans are a lot different than corn. Soybean yield is made in the month of August into September. If we get those late rains to help fill these pods out and even add some more new pods to the top, that's when you get good soybean yields. Corn yield is determined basically throughout the whole season. So very early on in the season is when the size of the ear is determined. And then after that, the rainfall just helps fill that ear out, helps it with pollination. And then these late rains that we're getting now might add some test weight to the corn, but the yield that we're gonna get is pretty much already made out in the cornfields. So I'm gonna head out to a cornfield that I've been kind of excited about all year. We're gonna take a look at that, pull some ears and see what we got. One thing about the soybeans that I kind of forgot to mention is with the input prices the way they are, we went a little bit on the cheaper side with our chemical program this year. So they are a little bit dirtier than we'd like to see. Basically all we did was we left Roundup out because it was so expensive, and we figured the only thing Roundup is good on is grass anymore. So what we did instead was we put clethodim in, which is a product that will kill volunteer corn, and it will also kill grass. Not as well as Roundup, but we decided we needed the clethodim anyway. So we took the Roundup out, put the clethodim in to save some money. And we also didn't use a residual on our post pass. We thought we'd get by without it because we were close enough to shade, to where the soybeans shade the row. But I think we were a little early on our post pass, and we do have some water hemp coming in late. So overall, I'd say I'm content with our weed control, but it could have been better. I guess that's what you get when you try to save money. All right, here we are. This is the field that I've been the most excited about all season long. This is a Pro Harvest 8360. It's a 113-day variety. So this is one of the later maturity hybrids that we plant. Our earliest is, I believe, 109-day, and latest is 114 days. So this is on the later end of the maturity spectrum, and this corn has just looked phenomenal all year long. It is a pretty high-performing hybrid. You definitely want to put it on good ground, and this is one of our best farms. It's pretty good for our area. I'm sure there's ground that's better, but for our area, this is a good farm. We decided to kind of take a risk and plant this kind of a more racehorsey hybrid. See if it pays off. I'm gonna walk out into it and see what it looks like, because you can't really judge a field by the edge. Well, I'm out in it. One thing I'm noticing is the ears are really high. They're like almost shoulder height on me. This corn's pretty tall. It's standing really well. It's really looks good once you get out in it. I'll grab an ear and just shuck it here real quick and see what we got. Well, here's the ear. It's a really nice one. It's 18 around by 33 long. I put it in my app. That comes out to 209 bushels to the acre if there's 32,000 of these per acre. That's pretty good. 200 is kind of our goal around here. That's about as good as we can get. If we break 200, we're tickled. So I hope all the ears are like this. That would be awesome. And we should have a pretty good corn crop. As you can see, this corn is starting to dry down towards the bottom. It's starting to turn brown a little bit. Still got some green up at the top, so it'll still benefit from some rain and some sunlight and heat. We could add a little bit more test weight to these. I see something's been feeding on a few ears here and there. Not sure what that's all about. Corn really does look pretty healthy. I mean, if you look at these ears, not much disease on them. There's just a few, like there's a spot right there. Nothing too serious. Disease pressure hasn't been too bad this year. We sprayed a little bit of our corn with fungicide. It's always kind of a crapshoot. You never know if it's gonna pay off or not. This year, disease pressure was low, so I'm thinking that we're gonna be all right not spraying everything. So can't wait to get out in the field and see what we've actually got out here. Well, that is our crop update, and I think that's where I'm gonna end the video. I guess to wrap up, kind of simplify things. Soybeans have the ability to kind of start and stop throughout the season, so if it gets dry for a while, they'll just kind of shut down, and then when we get some rains, they'll kind of start back up and catch up if you get enough rain. Corn, on the other hand, is kind of like you need to have the right weather early on in the season to set a nice ear size, and then everything after that, you're just protecting that yield that you have. So If you get good rains, you'll get that full potential. The worse and worse the conditions get, the more you'll take off the top end of that yield. So I think this year we kind of lost a little bit of the top end early on, as dry as it was, but we had really good weather for pollination. So we got a full ear, all the kernels are there, we didn't lose any. And then we got some later rains to fill that ear out, and hopefully we'll get another nice rain, maybe add some test weight to this corn. Yeah, that's about all I can do. You can do all the yield checks you want, but you don't know what you got till you get out in the field with the combine. And in a few weeks, that's what we're gonna do. So thank you for watching this video. I know it's a short one, just had some time this afternoon. Figured I'd get one out real quick, and yeah, see you on the next one.